What were the junior doctors expecting to see by the 8th of February that you didn't?
Well, I can tell you that we actually saw nothing at all. So any expectations that we had would have been unmet, because despite the Secretary of State saying that she was ready to meet us within 20 minutes if there were no strikes in our strike action in January, and despite hearing from multiple government officials that there was a further offer to be made after our negotiations in December, absolutely nothing was tabled in the talks that we've been having in the recent weeks. And ultimately, it's hard to reconcile that with a government that's supposedly wanting to achieve a resolution to this dispute when they're not progressing at all at a rate that would be acceptable.
So is this announcement today really a holding of the government's feet to the fire? The Health Secretary has said we were prepared to go further. Are you basically trying to bounce them into that next part of their offer by announcing the strikes today?
Well, ultimately, we were hearing similar messages in December that there was a further offer to be made, but that further offer never materialized. If there is anything further that the government can put forward, then I would urge them to do so, because like we've said all along, all we want is a credible offer. And if we can take that to our members, we can cancel any strike action. But we have not seen that. And I just wanted to kind of correct something that I heard on the introduction to this, that the government have already put forward an offer of 10.3%. Now that average of 8.8% was recommended by the supposedly independent pay review body, but the government did not award any funding for that. And the NHS has had to manage its expenses to award that pay uplift. So the government needs to get real. It can either continue its path of further pay cuts, which doctors have faced of around 26% over the last 15 years, or it can start to pay doctors fairly, which starts by reversing those pay cuts. And what that means is a doctor that's paid £15 an hour to be paid just over £20 an hour in today's money.
Wes Streeting has put out a statement within the past few moments saying Rishi Sunak is personally blocking a deal with the junior doctors. Is that how you see it?
Unfortunately, I've never spoken to Mr. Sunak, so I can't say for any certainty. What I can say is that there definitely seemed to be willingness from various people that we did speak to try and move things forward, but ultimately we were unable to do so. And Rishi Sunak has overall responsibility for how his government acts. And so, yes, I would say that at least some of this, if not most of this, falls at Rishi Sunak's feet.
Some people have said that the relationship between the government and the BMA has just become toxic, and that in itself is what is getting in the way of agreements being reached. Is there truth to that?
I don't hold any toxic feelings towards anybody, because all I want to do is to get an offer that we can put to our members that goes towards valuing doctors, to reversing those pay cuts that I talked about. And I want to achieve that. And like I just mentioned, I think there are some people within the government that also want that outcome. Ultimately, that's what I'm here to do, because that's what my members, the doctors I represent, have elected me to do. And that's what I'll continue to do.
Are you expecting a telephone call from the government to come in today?
My telephone is always available. I would hope for them to do so. They have reiterated before that they apparently cannot talk to unions while strike action's on the table. Now, first of all, that is a rule of their own making. There's no law that prohibits them from doing so. And also, we saw that it's an inconsistent rule, because they did speak to striking barristers. So ultimately, if there is further movement from them, as is being suggested by the Secretary of State, I would very much urge them to get back into the room with us, put that on the table, and we can cancel this strike action if it is a credible offer.
And just to recap again, your bottom line for what you consider to be a credible offer?
Well, we've always said that we're not here to negotiate on air, but we've talked with the government about what that could be, and both sides are aware. So now it's up to them to put something on the table that we can take to our members.
All right. Well, if there are any developments, come back onto Sky News and do share it with us so that we can tell our viewers. Thank you very much indeed.